We have.
Do some drawing, we can do some live art at last. So today we are going to be designing a cosmetic item from scratch with you guys. You're going to get to vote on which one you want to see come into the game, and it's going to be made during the game jam in 2 weeks, a couple of weeks time.
Yep.
14th of April. So that's going to be made by me. So I'm joined by
Mod Wellfish,
Mod Wellfish.
art director at Jagex.
Yep. I am Mod Sparky, a junior character artist, and over on the Cintiq
yonder.
drawing for us is Mod D. Barker, who is the lead concept artist
He is.
for RuneScape.
Hey Dave. Hello. All right, mate.
So
I've already got started.
He's actually on my Cintiq today, so don't break it, okay?
yeah. So we're going to be designing a couple of items and let you pick which one you want. It's going to be either a sword, a shield, a helmet and a cape. And then we'll send out a straw poll to you and you can vote which one you want to be made and drawn further, and then it will then get modelled.
It's all like kind of Lost Grove kind of natural sort of vegetation sort of theme, isn't it? So
Yeah,
there
so
you go.
we're, because of the soon to be released Lost Grove content, we're wanting to stay with that theme of like nature and the more natural kind of theme and stuff. So yeah, we're wanting to create something that fits with that, so that it fits in the style of like new content for the game. So is it possible to get the presentation up?
Yes, I am just trying to find the
Let's
clip
go.
for it.
So if you haven't seen Mod D. Barker's kind of work before, we've got a little bit of time lapse of one of his skeletons he drew for last year's RuneFest, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, it was last year, I think.
It was last year, yeah, last year's RuneFest. So you can kind of see his style. You probably recognise his style, as we published quite a lot of his work on Twitter.
Yep.
This is obviously compressed.
It does not draw this fast.
Doesn't draw this fast, but you'll see some of his techniques there. If we can take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yay. This is sketching out the outline.
Yep.
Ah, perfect.
So yeah, you get a little bit of a process of how he sketches out the rough shape and kind of builds it up from there and develops it before like adding colour and stuff. I think the most important part, and I'm sure David will agree, of designing something for RuneScape is like getting the silhouette right in game. A lot of players obviously like to zoom in and see their character and stuff, but by far you want to be able to see your character from a distance
Yeah,
and make
absolutely.
sure that it reads as well, especially with mobile down the line. We want it to look as good as possible across all platforms.
It can't turn noise, can it, really? Otherwise you're not going to recognise the characters.
Yeah. So we tend to, and you can see it from this example, we tend to go for very big shapes.
Large blocks of kind of colour,
Yeah.
simple shape languages, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If it can be built from shapes, primitive shapes like spheres and squares, it's kind of how it's done first. Get those big blocks, and it will read better.
And what you'll find actually here is you'll pass this over to the character artist to work up a 3D model, but they will translate that a little bit and simplify things down to work on a model.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of kind of creative kind of process there as well.
Yeah, I know that I find there's quite often a concept, you get a beautiful concept through, but when you translate it to 3D and take some of those drawn details into a 3D model, it doesn't read quite as well as what the 2D artist envisioned it. So we often tend to get them over, have a wee look at the model, push and pull some bits and make sure it's how they envisioned it and that it reads well in game as well. So I should note as well at this point that we do actually have two Lootscape chests, crates,
Loot chest.
loot chests available on the stream. We've got one for the first half of the stream, the art stream, and the second one is available during the Q&A stream in the second half. Yeah.
That's all. Question probably then: how long it take to actually draw that in the first place? How long was that? A couple of days?
No, that was like 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
So tad.
Well, I knew I was being recorded, so I went really fast. Yeah.
Oh, we got some things.
What was that?
Yeah.
We got some. It's got stuff to share.
Yeah, just switch this. I'm just doing a bit of quick line work to give people an idea of what the shapes are going to be. So yeah, Lost Grove, natural shapes, vines and creepers and stone and that kind of thing. So the first one is a cape. The second one here is I was thinking of like a Warhammer of some kind with a big
Nice,
piece
yeah.
of rock in it, maybe with some runes etched into it. This number 3, I was thinking of making this out of maybe a different kind of rock, maybe obsidian or something like that. So it's actually going to have a black blade
Nice.
to the sword, and then maybe with some extra runes and sort of vines growing through it as a handle. And I haven't managed to get to the shield yet. I'll
Okay.
be there in a second.
Very nice. So you can always see every design when it eventually comes into RuneScape does start as some very rough line work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
You get that early shape language down,
Yep.
see what kind of resonates and what kind of kicks.
Yeah, exactly. Because that is by far the best way we've found to translate stuff. Actually, David, you said something the other day, which was great, that you imagine when you're designing characters and weapons for our game, you imagine them like a miniature, like say a Warhammer miniature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the same principles apply. Most tabletop miniatures are viewed from a fair distance, so any designs on them have to be sort of seen. So yeah, it seems like a decent sort of parallel to use and shorthand.
Yeah. As I was just saying, like we sent out recently the 3D prints,
Oh yeah, that's
um,
been fun.
which a couple of lucky people got from the charity eBay. So that's kind of how we think of it. If it 3D prints well, it'll work well in the game. 'cause
That's a
as you
good,
see-
yeah, that's a good rule of thumb actually.
Yeah.
We're loving those 3D printers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it's
love
really
a 3D
good.
print.
And what's great here as well, actually, because you're seeing Dave draw live here, and you can churn these out so quickly. We can in no time until we'll have a lineup around kind of 10 or 12 different variations of weapons, so we can kind of choose the best bits we like from weapons. And when
Yeah.
it comes to feedback at this stage, it's nice and quick
Yeah.
and not upsetting anybody.
Once there's a couple of iterations and before it gets fully rendered up for the artist, it gets sent out to all of the design teams, development teams, and they get a kind of say, make sure it fits the theme, and it's hitting what we want it to hit.
Yeah.
Is it possible to put the presentation back up? For
Yeah,
some
should we
of
look at some of the reference images
Yeah.
from Lost Grove? So starting off, before you put pen to paper, it doesn't just kind of fall off your head onto the screen, or sometimes it does.
Hope it does.
Yeah. So you start off with gathering reference, and that comes from anywhere. The internet is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the biggest
Google
library
Images
in the
is
world.
a godsend.
Yes,
It's-
absolutely. People had books before then. They had to go to libraries and look at books. I do have quite a few books still, but
Yeah.
I like flicking through books. But
I'm sure there's still good, a good point of call with books. But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you've got Google Images, every possible image in the world, every reference you could possibly want,
Yeah.
from anything, you want armor reference.
Yeah.
Somebody's probably made it.
Too much sometimes, quite frankly. And video as well. So if you're going to start off something, do your research first. You pull off a lot of great ideas just from looking at other people's work or looking at existing kind of sites or weapons. It's
Yeah.
And this is what's Neil's tag? Don't know.
Neil's-
One of our concept artists, who isn't Dave. And he pulled a few ideas, a few reference images, and started just blocking down some kind of shapes here, which is quite nice. And then we look at an early sketch for Lost Grove.
Yep.
So super, super simple idea about having the kind of tree at the kind of center of it all.
A very, very early idea.
It's very, very early, but that's what it needs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can cut into this. You can do feedback really, really quickly with this.
Yep.
It's super, super fast and quicker than modeling it, obviously, because
Yeah.
you're in 2D.
This is maybe, 5 minutes work to
Yeah.
get something like this.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's very easy to go and take it to a designer or developer and, see what they want to fit in that space and then
Yeah.
take it further from there.
Absolutely.
Rather than, designing every tree in the place and
Yeah.
having to pick out trees and stuff. So
You never get anything done.
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously from there we can start blocking in some ideas. And this is a time lapse of some early kind of what we call key up. So it's a bit of artwork that's kind of inspires the creation of whatever we're making. So not everything might get modeled, but it's there just to kind of, inspire artists and designers alike.
Yeah. So it's kind of used as well, not only as, so you will gather your reference when modeling, but you also want with your reference something like this to really show and have colours pop. Often in nature is very colourful, but you don't get things quite as colourful as what a concept artist can push it,
Yeah.
especially for a fantasy game. So it's nice to have that as a reference to really, make a colourful world.
Yes.
A colourful world.
Like a
of
colourful
RuneScape.
world. Absolutely. And sometimes also our concept artists will use 3D. So they use, in this case, Blender. It's a simple, I think Blender free? Is it a free 3D plugin?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, Blender free. And they block out some stuff in Blender in 3D and then bring that back into Photoshop and then paint over that stuff as well. So this is like the next step from that kind of better key art, just refining some shapes and some layout. And normally one of our concept artists will sit down with a designer or artist and they just block out some kind of shapes and refine that kind of layout before they paint in to this kind of step.
I should note this. What's going on screen right now isn't live. This is this took a little bit longer to do.
Just knocking this out now. It's fine.
This is a time lapse done for the Lost Grove. Must have been last year sometime. It was concepted up. We're just showing it to show kind of a process that Dave's going through just now in the background.
I'm going as fast as I can.
That's right. We're just still going for the concept art. So here we've pulled out a few features that we've liked. And then the concept artist will kind of drill down on a few of those features and work them up into a more kind of comprehensive piece of concept art. Because sometimes when they're at that kind of key art stage, it's a little bit loose. If you're trying to model it, you're not quite sure what some stuff is. So it's kind of helpful there.
Yeah, it's nice where you can get a full piece through for an environment, but it's nice to get little individual pieces like this in a bit more detail, so that they're meant to be given a little bit more love from an artist. So. We give it that time so that it can, when translating to a 3D model, we get the best representative in 2D.
And also then no one's surprised either. So we can give this to anybody in the team and take a look at it. They can give us feedback on this as well. So it's still in 2D at this point, so we can change stuff really, really quickly.
Yeah, it's nice to get a final decision a lot earlier in the process.
Yes,
than,
we all like that.
Like you could show off a full environment drawn piece that's maybe taken like 3 days to do. And then suddenly when you make it in 3D, it's like this one section which could have been designed a little better and you have to remake it. So it's nice to get all of that ironed out early on.
Absolutely. Still happens every now and then, but on the whole, we're pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's faultless. And then after that, you can start looking at kind of some of the sort of flora and fauna and just working into those. So this is a great bit of concept art. It may not look it, but if you're having to model vegetation in this area, you've got all this laid out in front of you. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
You can't go kind of far wrong. And some kind of rocks and some butterflies, weirdly enough. Like once again, some key little aspects there. And you can normally, if you make some rocks up with this kind of shape, you can use those rocks to populate the whole environment and build a lot of stuff out of those key little modular pieces.
Should say as well, for people who are pursuing art and wanting to pursue it as a career, stuff like this, I'd say, is always great to put in a portfolio.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be a fully fledged, like a full environment. It's always nice to see things broken down like this into high detail. And,
Well, you make a good point, because concept artists aren't normally doing beautiful, lovely rendered bits of images.
Yeah.
They are doing a bit of armor or a knee or some flowers or a weapon in isolation. So you've got to have those kind of skills.
Yeah, exactly. It's not all about let's make a fully rendered character in an environment. There is obviously some of that when we show off some key art and stuff like that, but yeah, a lot of the time it's single pieces.
And it's a completely different skill set. We have illustrators who work on all our kind of advertising artwork as well. So they have got that traditional, well, not that traditional, but kind of illustrative kind of sort of eye.
Yeah.
And then concept artists will focus on these more kind of modular kind of pieces.
Yeah. As well, a lot of the concept artists have that very special eye, being able to show off how things fit together, say anatomically for a character. Where some of our illustrators are maybe better at the whole presentation piece.
Just the wow kind of factor.
Yeah. And
the great thing about our concept artists is there's 4 of them up there right now, and they know the game inside out. They know what we can do and can't do and all our limitations about when we're modelling stuff. So they will produce artwork with sympathetically that in mind.
Yeah.
So there's no big surprises there.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're feeling extra creative.
So, got a question. Have you had any ideas which you thought were great but were shut down by other departments?
Every
Yeah.
There's always great ideas. I mean, the whole kind of creative process is you start off with a whole bunch of crazy mad ideas.
Yeah,
And then you see what you can fit in.
Yeah, like a lot of the time, developers obviously think from a very lore orientated, where as an artist, it's let's make it awesome. Let's
Yeah.
make it massive. Let's make it,
It's 50 legs.
50 legs. Give it double axes like the size of worlds. It's
It's got its eyes are axes, and it has,
yeah. So we can get a little bit out of control because
let's make that. Let's make some
We-
of
we
the
wanna-
eyes for axes.
yeah, we always want to make cool things,
Yeah.
but I can't think of any specific examples.
But there's a lot, once again, in that thumbnail stage, we throw a lot of stuff kind of away that just doesn't fit.
Yeah,
So you get a certain amount of wastage. And,
Yeah.
and depending on the size of the project, we will kind of, do a lot of kind of pre-production work, which gets thrown away.
Yeah.
Not thrown away, it's part of the development process, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping that during some of these streams, hopefully in the future, we can maybe show off some of that
Yeah.
lost artwork.
Oh, yes.
There was a presentation by Alec and
Lee.
Lee
Yep.
at RuneFest showing the lost art.
Should have been me. I should have been there as well. But I missed it this year. So,
So yeah, hopefully we can show off a bit more of those lost concepts in the future, so you can see, great ideas that just didn't quite fit the brief.
but they never completely kind of go away. Because obviously we don't throw them away. They will sit
Yeah,
there and
they
kind of
are
fold. And
used.
sometimes we will, bring them out and go, that was a great idea. Let's get that out. So,
Yeah.
it's never
Yeah,
truly
no
used.
ideas thrown away. It's
No.
always used to build upon, and it eventually might come to light.
Yeah.
But
Check your iPad for a question that leads nicely on from
Oh.
what you just said.
Okay.
so following up on the current question, are there any ideas initially thrown away which found their way into the game later anyway?
Ooh.
See, I've only been here for about 6 months, so I don't know of any thrown away ideas.
I think I remember seeing a long time ago, like sketches for Tusker, the huge kind of space pig Tusker that was
Yep.
that was shelved for a while, and then got reworked on and changed quite a bit. But there's a lot of stuff. There's probably more than you think that kind of just sit there and that kind of would still like to do at some point. It's quite cool. That
Yeah.
works its way back up there.
So a lot of stuff is designed quite early on, and then often might get pushed back because of another update, which is more important or requires more attention. So, I mean, sometimes projects can get pushed back, quite a while, and then
Yeah,
eventually
absolutely.
come to light when we feel it's right to release it into the game.
Yeah.
So,
It could be tech reasons. It could be
Yeah.
a million reasons.
so it might be nice
Good
to
question.
pop back to Dave's screen and see
Yeah.
how he's getting on with these concepts.
Oh, what?
Right.
Oh.
So
Damn.
we have, yes, so cape, hammer, sword, shield. And the idea, the cape's fairly obvious. It's some nice curved sort of vines and autumnal colours working into the greens, and it looks quite sweet, I think. The hammer, I mean, it's not a very aggressive looking hammer. The Lost Grove has got some fairly, I don't know, sort of almost pacifist kind of vibe to it. It's quite serene. So the hammer looks like it can do damage, and it's got a big rock on the end of it. But, it's sort of, again, quite sweet looking.
Is it a one-handed hammer or a two-handed hammer?
It's really up to you. I can just lengthen this down here.
There you go. Now it's two-handed.
Two-handed. Sorted.
Can we get a rock on each end in that case then?
You're doing that thing I told you not to do.
Oh yeah, sorry. Add some coral. Add more coral. I love coral.
What have we got? We also got this obsidian-like blade, which looks pretty funky, much more aggressive looking than the hammer. I think that looks like a two-handed thing to me.
The dual wield there. Someone just typed in. It's all
Dual-wield?
looks past dual wielded hammer.
Dual-wield hammers.
Yeah.
Okay, double hammer. And the shield, I thought of maybe like a stone with runes carved into it that a tree or a branch has grown through. And yeah, maybe on the side of it, the handle could actually sort of grow through the back of the shield. So that bit there comes round and forms the handle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's got some leaves growing out of it, and maybe add some berries or something like that.
Berries or some lovely flowers.
Little pop of colour.
One
Little
thing you
bird,
can do
little
with
perched on
shield
top,
is
tweeting
snack
away.
option.
Actually, yeah, there's no wildlife in there. Can
No
we get a
wildlife.
badger in there or something?
I'm not drawing a badger now.
So this
Yeah.
is a very good example of we're going to pick one to do over Game Jam, but it doesn't mean these will not be used in the future.
No, absolutely.
If there's some free development time, an artist might pick it up and get it QA'd and whatnot, and it might come into game.
Yep.
It might be a year down the line, but if an idea is loved by the players, it's not just going to get dropped immediately.
Sorry, I was laughing at the badger comment. They have to do a badger weapon now, so double-handed badger weapon.
I knew this was going to get derailed on me.
So, yeah,
This is
well,
what it's like normally upstairs as well. This is kind of, yes, no, Dave, make a badger. And then you have that skunk and like a spray in your face and it'd be brilliant.
yeah, we'll get sent these and we'll go over. It's like, it just needs more badgers.
Yeah, it's not enough badger. Double-handed dual welding badger sprays. Not a helmet though, that'd be bad. Sorry, anyway, yes.
So yeah, we'll probably do the survey in 5 minutes or something.
Do it whenever you want.
Should we just do it now?
Ready now? I mean, yeah, you
Yeah,
happy, Dave?
why not?
What's happening?
Happy? You ready? Which
Well,
survey?
we'll do the survey now
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
see which one players want you to continue further.
Yeah.
Yep,
Um,
that's fine.
You can have a cup of tea while they're doing that if you want. Or a lozenge.
What? Do you have any lozenges?
Not with me.
Okay,
I just
well-
like the word lozenge.
False hope.
So it rolls off the tongue. Anyway,
so we knew
it's going well so far, isn't it? Yeah.
It was going to go off into a artistic creative
It
tangent.
took 20 minutes to get there.
So it might be worth going back to the presentation.
There's some character work up there, I think, isn't there? We can look at. You've been
Yes.
a character artist, no?
Yes.
A bit longer so they can
Yes, I think-
Oh, yeah, okay,
Oh, of
sorry.
course,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. We'll also talk a little bit about some of the methods Dave's using as well, and some of his brushes and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
If you're interested or have ever used Photoshop.
Oh yeah, we should maybe mention it. So yeah, Dave is using Photoshop to draw.
Yes, and my Cintiq.
And your
Did we say that? Use my Cintiq, yeah.
I'm
Yep,
not
and
breaking
Because
it, don't worry.
yours is, Dave's got he's got 22, no, how big is yours, 27 inch?
I can't remember.
Oh, it's huge, it's massive.
it's
It's
a
huge,
place,
great big screen you draw on. And it weighs an absolute ton. It needs 2 people to lift it.
Yep.
And we'd break it if we moved it. So
Yeah.
I got a slightly smaller one.
So that's actually an interesting point as well. So concept artists, they tend to use 27-inch Cintiqs, a lot bigger than, say, like the modelers and stuff. We tend to use 22 for doing sculpting and stuff. It's all personal preference.
It is. There's just nice and smaller around those small ones. I quite like them just for.
Yeah, like for artwork, it's usually really wide, and you tend to go like from one side to the other. Where for a sculptor, you tend to stay quite close in, so it's nice to not have to. That's what I found anyway.
That makes sense. Oh, hello.
So what's in the lead? We've got
What's that
number
sword?
3 so far.
Really? Oh, I like the hammer.
Do you want to read out? Because people on the
Okay.
might know.
Yeah,
for it.
so number 1 is the cape. Number
No. So we've got,
No,
the
I can't
helm.
even read
The
that
helm's
from
at
Item 1 is the cake.
the sword.
You've got a sword.
Sword at 43%. Yep.
oh, there's that.
We've got the cape at 31%. The Warhammer at 16. And new contact lenses, you see. and the shield is at 9%. Oh, the shield's
Yeah.
at 9. Damn, you guys like swords.
Yeah, so it looks like sword number 3 is going to get.
Okay,
Needs more greenery on there, I think, with the sword.
okay.
It kind
Yeah.
of-
I will add more greenery
yeah, and a badger.
and a badger.
Cool, okay. So we go with sword then.
Right.
Yeah, sword it is. So,
That worked, that was great.
yeah.
Didn't think that was going to work at all. That's absolutely brilliant.
So by the end of the stream, we should have something that's very beautiful looking.
No pressure.
No pressure, Dave.
But you got 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm going to take the concept away, and at the game jam, I'm going to model it up and get it QA'd and put into the stream for a new Lootscape pack,
Yeah.
which is going to be given to everybody who watches the game jam live stream.
So modelling live and sculpting live. You going to sculpt it?
No, I won't be sculpting.
Oh, but it's natural.
I know. I know.
So that'll be the Tuesday following the game jam. That'll
And
be
that's what we're aiming for
that's what
anyway.
we're aiming
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Tuesday following the game jam, which is Tuesday the
17th or something?
the 17th.
17th.
17th, yeah, okay. You nervous? You might have heard of you sculpt a few times actually. If you're not aware of it, sculpting is like a 3D putty, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
It's like it's before you actually make geometry, you make like a I don't you do it. I'll describe.
Yeah, so imagine clay but digital. Would sculpt on the computer exactly the same way that you would sculpt in clay. You have the same
Similar
kind of
tools as well, haven't they? Really?
Yeah, it's all about adding on more clay, chiseling in, and smoothing it out, adding in details. I mean, we've got a lot of brushes. A lot of the team all use as well. Like specific brushes for getting nice hard edges. A lot of, like leading back to the concept art, a lot of what we get through are big blocky shapes. So it's up to us to continue those big blocky shapes in 3D and sculpt big massive shapes and make sure it reads like throughout the process.
And the great thing is, if you're using a Cintiq with the pen on it, it's like sculpting. Those kind of tools
Yeah.
are very, very similar to naturally kind of sculpting. Not that I do a lot of sculpting with clay, but I imagine it would be like that if I was sculpting with clay.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the day that sculpting comes out in VR. I can actually walk around,
That would be great.
I've seen a few. So we use ZBrush in-house, but I think it's Sculptress is a free version of ZBrush.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's
Cut down, isn't it? Quite has.
yeah, it's cut down a lot, but you can do some basic stuff. It's a great way to get started for anybody looking to get into doing 3D modeling and especially character stuff. Sculptress is your best bet.
Hey, so top tips: Sculptress, which is free, and Blender, which is free.
And Blender, which
So
is
if you want to
free.
get into 3D, there's your two basic tools there.
Yeah.
Off you go. What's stopping you?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive to get into
Yeah.
to get into 3D stuff.
No, absolutely.
There is tons of software that are stepping stones, offer you everything you need.
And the great thing about sculpting as well is it's kind of, if you're doing more kind of natural, organic kind of shapes, you get that nice kind of, that nice traditional, natural kind of earthy looking kind of
Yeah.
silhouettes, don't you? Rather than
Yeah.
this hard edge that you get with modeling geometry sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, there's some beautiful brushes that you can drag on around the clay, and it creates like organic vines for you. It follows your pen, so it's really easy to get some really nice organic feeling shapes. Yeah.
Maybe the next one we do, it'll be sculpting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next time if we can get it down here, we'll do some live sculpting and show that off.
That would be cool. Groovy. Okay.
So
Should we go back to look at the characters? And
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the
probably
PowerPoint.
good. Cool.
Okie dokie. Some simple
Yeah.
kind of creatures then.
Perfect. So these characters are
Well, that's
exactly what we're
sculpted.
talking about.
Yes.
I think they were sculpted.
I think
yeah.
you're right.
So yeah, these are characters from the Lost Grove, which show off some very organic modelling and drawing.
It'd be hard to make that in traditional kind of just poly creation, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Really? They are so natural and kind of flowing that it's you wouldn't quite.
Hello.
Feel. Hello. You look out of breath and everything.
No, it's just like I just got back from having 20-week scan with other half.
You look
So
older
Oh,
than
really?
20 weeks.
that's why I'm a bit late. So I do apologise. And it's absolutely.
I mean,
It's the worst
done it. I
excuse,
mean,
isn't
we're
it?
there, right? I mean,
Oh,
we've nailed it so far, right?
right.
Yeah.
All right. So are we on player questions? I believe. Are we on player questions?
We've done the player question.
Oh man, you
Dipping in and
guys.
out. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we're free forming it.
So in a nutshell, then, what have I missed just for people tuning in late? Then
Amazing stuff. Oh, we had like dancing girls and lasers and smoke machines and everything in it earlier.
I miss out on everything.
Yeah, right.
Hey, first stream we go full out with the lasers. You know? It's the lasers.
So Dave's been working up four bits of concept art for us, and one was a hammer, which I liked, but no one else did. A shield, a cape, and a sword, and we have gone with sword.
Yep.
Yes, the public have voted. A big
Sword?
obsidian-looking,
Sword.
nature-themed sword.
I need to
Yeah,
go with a
Lost
sword.
Grove sword is
It's
like-
ironic because there was obviously a player request. Oh, there we go.
there we go.
There was obviously a player request. Oh, not player request. Player concept of obviously a brass Guffix God Sword, I believe, a few days ago. Is that right, JD? Where we've had a player made like a Guffix God Sword, and I'm seeing
Yeah.
people like that. So I could kind of see the swords coming, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good sword. He did a good job. But
Oh, man.
hammer was better. So.
And yeah, we've just been talking a bit about the process of what we do day
Yeah.
to day, how a concept gets to 3D, and showing off a bit of Lost Grove art and how, explaining how that's become 3D and in-game.
So I'm
What's great there actually, you're looking at some of the kind of smaller kind of creatures is where the concept artists have taken some traditional looking vegetation and then turned them into creatures. So they're kind of just like, oh, looking at a tree. No, it's not a tree, it's a creature. And kind of comes out and kind of grabs you. So it's kind of cool.
awesome. Right. So am I right? in
Sorry.
saying we haven't got all the discussion topics. Is that right? We still got discussion topics to go through.
Always.
we've not-
There's always more, right?
Awesome. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to catch up with everything. Apologies.
We could look at some more artwork. Look, and here are some more. Oh, didn't you do that? No, you didn't do that. Did you?
Didn't do that, no.
Yeah, so it's a larger kind of rock kind of creatures. I love the little kind of conker kind of critter at the bottom there. So it kind of pops out of the conker shell. I don't actually got used, but
Yeah, I don't think the Conquer's in game, is it?
no,
Lost
no.
Grove.
Another case of things, being concepted and not actually making it through to the game. But you may
Yes.
see at some
You
point.
never know, it might appear one day.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's, some of the larger stuff. Actually,
Yeah.
this wasn't. This inspired Solak, didn't it? I guess.
Yeah, so this wasn't actually for the Lost Grove, but we thought we'd put it in because it kind of shows you how other things concepted that haven't made it into game can help inspire future projects.
This was from God War Dungeon 2
Yes,
in the end. Yeah.
I believe these were early Telos.
Yeah, we were playing.
So
with
this
some
was the
ideas.
original Telos then, basically?
Yeah, and there were
Yeah.
things
Wow,
before
okay.
that, but we went with like a 4-legged thing, or 2-legged, a weird giraffe thing, which didn't make it. And these are some of the other ideas we had for Telos, which didn't quite make it through.
Yeah,
But you can see a bit of Solak there, kind of coming out.
yeah.
Kind of tree, naturey kind of thing.
This is a good example as well of how, we can, as an artist, you can design something that's absolutely insane, but then it doesn't always quite fit the brief. It might have some tech issues that we can't quite produce it as well as this.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame to bring out something like this, if we can't
Yeah, absolutely nail it.
absolutely nail it. So it doesn't mean it won't come out in the future when our tech is,
Have you guys talked about the issues you run into? Have you touched upon that in a sense? Like, what kind of issues do you face on a day-to-day?
Above me getting in the way.
The
I'm the
roadblock.
biggest
that,
issue,
yeah.
really.
The roadblock.
Make that more green.
I mean, from a concept point of view, there isn't too many issues.
No.
You can kind of design. You can design anything really.
Yeah, I mean, if you can draw, that's it. If you
Yeah.
if you head onto the actual tablet.
From a 3D point of view, for characters, so it's a huge game. The game is massive, and because of that, because it was online, because we've got mobile coming through, our poly counts are low.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that you see in 2D can't be translated in 3D, so it has to be painted on. So yeah, a lot of the time we have to cut back details. If it's maybe got a lot of, say there's feathers hanging off, we might put those feathers closer together so that you don't have to model in the geometry, it can be painted. So there's a few issues like that.
It's difficult when you've got a great bit of concept art as well, not to get carried away. As an
Yeah.
artist, knowing when to stop.
Yeah,
You go, oh, I made this amazing thing. I spent 6 months doing this, and I got one character. It's like, well,
yeah.
that's great, but
Yeah, it kind
make
of
a
goes
game.
back to those blocky shapes as well, because if it doesn't read from our furthest away distance,
Yeah.
which a lot of players use because of big bosses like Telos and stuff, is it really worth adding in? You kind of have to make those decisions. Do we add in these little details, or do we
and we trim out a lot of stuff.
trim out a
You'd be
lot of
surprised
stuff?
how much we do trim off, And
Yeah.
it's slightly easier with larger creatures like kind of Solak, because you've got the screen space for that kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
have those kind of big silhouettes. But with smaller kind of like player kits and that kind of stuff, it's quite tricky getting those details in there.
I mean, with texture sizes as well, we work at quite small texture sizes. For example, like the Equinox armor, which I did recently. Jan put in some immaculate detail, some metal mottling, which would have been fantastic.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was absolutely
beautiful.
stunning. I got to stare at that beauty for 4 weeks, constantly on my screen. And unfortunately, you just can't carry details like that across, because as soon as that's added into your 3D model, as soon as you zoom out, it just looks like noise.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's those restrictions.
So, it's considering we're talking about sizes of monsters, Gilano from Nomad's Elegy, how the heck did you guys even come to designing that? Now, as a reminder, huge boss that's involved in the fight at Nomad at the end. I don't know if you can remember off the top of your head. It's just like essentially have bodies hanging off.
Yeah,
it,
kind of
stuff
lots
like
of- yeah.
that. How the hell how did you come to that? Because that's a massive
I mean,
size monster.
You don't get to the bottom of it, so a lot of it's fake.
No, of course.
So from bridge kind of downwards, really, a lot of it is kind of fake and just kind of texture work, and you just model the kind of top half. It was a challenge. It went through quite a few iterations, I seem to remember. It played to our strengths because it was very kind of vertical, so you're looking down on the actual kind of creature, which is fantastic, rather than looking at the kind of distance. Your microphone just died.
I realise I'm talking.
No one's listening. It's live TV, folks.
Okay, give me a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a baby. Pisk. Yeah. Was it? Yes. So, initially we had model of detail in there, and we had a lot of problem with transparencies. When they sort, they get too close together, they start to flicker, and it just turns into a kind of crazy disco. So there's a lot of bug fixing on that character.
Yeah. So in 3D, when we model things, our game is actually quite large. So it's not to real scale. I believe. I believe it's like times 2.8 size.
It's got its own metrics, isn't it?
It's its own metrics.
Yeah.
So for every meter in game, it's actually for every meter in game, it's maybe like 200 cent.
It's something weird and abstract, isn't it, as well? It's not like a whole number. It's like 0.7158362.
Yeah, so we obviously use other characters and environment pieces as a reference. But if you make something that's really small, because of our engine, if verts are too close together, they'll snap into the same place and they'll weld. So we often get, if you make little, like really small things, you have to keep the verts spread out, otherwise they'll just snap. And as well, like you said, with transparency.
Yeah, nightmare.
Trying to get transparency to work. Say if you've got, I'm going to use feathers again.
Use feathers, go for
You have lots of feathers built up on top of each other. There's a lot of mechanics to create like a render order so you can't just see through the model. And
I think Aviancy wise are like, oh no more Aviancy, no.
Yeah.
Are you talking from a personal experience? Because you keep going back to feathers here.
Yeah.
It's burned by feathers.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
Oh man. All right. So do feel free to tell me if you've already discussed these topics and try and catch up what I can. I mean, have we got more on the presentation to show?
We've got a little bit more actually. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to the presentation.
Let's do that. I think we've got
So obviously.
crazy amount of big stuff.
Here we go.
Very early, some very early Solak stuff.
Yeah.
This was way before you started to work on it, wasn't it?
So how did the premise come around? How did the idea come around, and how did you get to this in its original design, I guess?
Who drew these up?
This was John, who's no longer with us, but he was. What was it for? I can't remember. We had a design knocking around for ages, and there was some kind of just some ideas, and we think we had a bit of spare time to knock up some concept art.
I think it was was it not very early Lost Grove that there was
Yeah,
ideas coming about?
I think it came from
Ramon's in the chat, so Ramon might be able to help us on that one, because obviously
Cool.
Ramon was involved in that process as well. But yeah, that I imagine you can already see, like just from there, it's like Lost Grove themed.
Yeah, you've got the kind of blue kind of glow and the big kind of woody sort of thing.
There you go. And Ramon, that was the very first Solak concept art. There you go.
Yeah. So
And where the inspiration came from the God Wars Dungeon, 2.
Yeah.
That was kind of, and then down to this was a bit of.
That was shown at Roomfest. I
That
believe?
was, yeah.
Yep.
So weirdly enough, didn't actually have any final concept art for this, did we?
yeah,
Which is very, very rare.
yeah. So this was a good example of how a 3D modeler has taken on a concept and made it up, and then getting the concept artists to. So yeah, this is the first sculpt of Solak, which was shown at RuneFest, and since then has gone through like a couple of iterations based on feedback and. Yeah.
But it just shows how creative some of our character guys are, because they can work from various bits of concept art to make this kind of whole.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, exactly. So to develop something like this further, if it's not quite right, or if we get a lot of feedback saying it isn't quite right, we would take that back to the concept artist and they would do a paint over.
Yeah.
Push and
quick.
pull some shapes and not re-envision it, but make it fit a little more into the RuneScape.
And it's quicker to do that. It's quicker to do that in 2D than go back into sculpt and push stuff around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned obviously that, you go back and forth in discussions and stuff. How often do you guys meet up to kind of show what you guys have been working on and obviously discuss with, and you, for example, being the blocker and going, oh no, we need more of this, etc. How often does that happen?
So, I mean, there were different departments inside RuneScape, obviously. With the concept artists, I mean, they sat right next to me, really. So it's
Yeah.
I'm sure they love it because it's constant.
Great. I have no complaints.
Get back to work, you. No, so it's kind of constant, really. We have official kind of meetups. We do kind of show and tells. We do feedback sessions with all disciplines. Inside each team, they have their own. We have like a lead animator, a lead character artist, the environment artist, and they will do feedback with all their teams as well. And that happens weekly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Just so individually, I know a lot of the modelers will go over to the concept artist and we'll just talk constantly all through the day.
Yeah.
As soon as they send something through, we'll often be over straight away discussing like what we think will translate well, and so as well as those big discussions with the whole team for like overall art direction, there is a lot of one-to-one chats. Yeah.
I'm not this big authority figure, you know. It is. I come across that way. It is very, very open. We are one big, lovely, kind of happy family up there, and everyone talks to everybody else, and all that information kind of flows around. And it's very, very organic that way. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're looking from our perspective, what do you see? So we have the content team. So for example, on the content side of things, we have, our developers, we have our QA. That's the content side. How does our tie in, and how many numbers do you expect to see per team in that sense? So how many modelers per content team and environment?
That depends on the size of the project, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very flexible. in that
Yeah,
regard.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right now, we're all kind of sitting together in one massive art team. So if a huge project comes along and needs 20 artists working on it, they can all kind of float around it.
Nice.
Yeah.
If it's small stuff with two or three artists, then we'll sign those.
Depending when the release schedule is as well, we can drop some projects and carry on and help other people with theirs. It all just depends on when it's been released.
Super flexible, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Awesome. All right, let's crack on. I'm assuming we
Okay,
have more.
we've got a little bit more, I think, on the PowerPoint front. We've got we got a little turntable.
Yeah. So the final model off Solak, which I believe was shown recently by.
Yeah, it was shown.
by
Yep.
Ram.
That's good. No spoilers.
No first reveals. No, yeah, he did show it, so it's all good.
Yeah.
As you can tell by his very extravagant reaction in the chat right there. But anyway,
Projects are you working on currently? That's a good one. How many projects are we working on currently?
I assume you guys might be working on a different number of projects compared to content in that regard, because
Yeah.
I assume you guys
Yeah.
obviously do other projects as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Me personally, I float around quite a lot. So
I know that I personally am working on 3 projects currently, but by projects it doesn't exactly mean like a whole new quest or a whole new bot. It can be tiny wee things like retexturing a model or just doing a helmet or something like that. But I know often a lot of the guys will be working on maybe 2 projects at a time.
yeah, there's always something kind of the next project in the background you're kind of thinking about before you're going to start on it as well.
Yeah.
You're playing around with ideas and you're working with concept artists because they tend to cross over.
Yeah.
You don't kind of start one. It's not like a hard kind of finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, you can see it's coming along
nice.
pretty
Look at
well, isn't it?
that.
Looking great.
Has it got a name, Dave? You're going to call it something?
Big spiky thing.
Big spiky,
spiky
the big
thing.
spiky fin. You've heard it here first, everyone. Someone said that sword reminds me of a calligraphy pen.
Yeah, it
Thought of
does.
that actually.
Good link to the next slide on the
Ah,
PowerPoint.
there we
go. Talking of calligraphy pens, but look at some of the brushes Dave's using today.
Let's bring that up.
Head back to that. There we go. Actually, no, a bit of colour stuff first. Back into Photoshop. Some techie stuff for those of you who are interested in Photoshop. Color wheel. Love color wheel.
Color wheel.
The default kind of color selector thing in Photoshop is horrible. I use Magic Picker, which is not free, but it's like $1 or something. There is a color wheel inside Photoshop. It's so much easier to kind of choose colors and see kind of opposite and kind of do triads and other kind of color inside Photoshop and work out what kind of colors and your complementary colors. It's there in front of you. Using a color wheel will bring you along leaps and bounds when it comes to using color,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
So a lot of the time, especially in 3D, but a lot of it's drawn from a concept. Concept artists, instead of using black and white, they'll always use color to try and build in your shadows. And instead of using white for your highlights, they'll try and use a yellow or something more interesting.
Yeah, we don't go down to kind of blacks. We kind of try and use a kind of an opposite color.
They
Yeah.
just
All a
wanted,
colour.
someone just asked, what was it called again? The extension?
That's called Magic Picker.
Magic Picker. There you
But
go.
there's a whole bunch of them for Photoshop. Some of them are free as well. I used a free one for a while. It was a bit clunky. But there is one built into Photoshop, which the concept artists do use, but I'm not a fan of it, but they like it. So, I don't know. So 4 of Dave's favourite brushes. Chalky, blobby, streaky and scratchy. It's the 4 brushes of the apocalypse.
That's all you need to become
Yes, that's it.
world's best artist.
He loves them. You kind of find watching Dave particularly kind of work, he has got a couple of go-to brushes he will use. And then as the concept art progresses, he'll kind of expand that into some finer, deeper brushes. But actually blocking stuff out, those are the 4 he kind of goes for.
Yep.
And their comedy names, they're not called that in Photoshop. I don't know. Photoshop. Oh, Chalky might be, actually.
The 4 brushes of the apocalypse.
Yes. And actually, if you can pick up those brushes, you can actually go into Photoshop and you can change brushes around and their scattering and their kind of density and that kind of stuff. And bring up that kind of tool for into Photoshop, play around with it, you get some fantastic results.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
We all use pretty much the same kind of brushes as well.
Yes.
So that we can all get the same kind of effect and rendering at the end.
It keeps it consistent.
Some people want him to release the brush pack, which is pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah.
Someone said, would Dave ever drop his brush pack? And
Would you ever drop your brush pack?
I certainly can. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Look into that, yeah.
I
Of
mean,
course, it needs to be said they are sort of some of these brushes have been made by other artists in the industry as well.
We'll have
All
to look
kind
if
of
they were
swap and
the
share.
free ones, yeah, because some
Yeah.
are free and some you got to pay for, obviously.
yeah, we'll look into it definitely.
Yeah,
I
but it
mean-
could be a thing.
When do the 4 brushes of the apocalypse come in as weapon override? Oh, here we go now.
Next live live stream. That'll be
man.
fantastic. But actually, Dave, can you bring up your colour wheel thing quickly?
Color wheel thing. This
There you
thing.
go. That's the Photoshop one.
Oh, so this is just where you can go for the colours.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
That comes with Photoshop, but I don't like it.
And this is all hotkeys as well, so you can quickly change colours really quickly.
Yeah, I say quickly. I'm certainly holding down 3 keys to do
It's
that.
you kind of got to do that with your hands, haven't you? I don't know how you do it because it's like it's
Muscle
a
memory.
pianist thing, perhaps. I don't know, but it's just like yeah,
That is looking great. Wow.
it is that. I mean, that went from like a line drawing to
Yeah. So yeah, it gives you a good example of how quickly some concepts can be made.
Yeah.
You know, if
he is very talented, to be fair.
it is very,
You know, I mean, it's
it's a good job he's our lead.
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but looking beautiful. Can't wait to see someone model that. Oh, hang on, that's you.
All right, so let's go back to the presentation and
That's it,
carry
I
on
think.
with the talking.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
it.
that was it.
So
Oh,
that's all you
apologies.
get, yeah.
Okay, wow. There you go.
got
See,
any
I
questions
missed so
on the
much.
live
I'm so
stream for-
upset.
I'm gonna leave it on there
Ugh.
so we can.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
just watch Dave's progress as
Yeah.
we chat.
Quite calming, isn't it? Actually, I like,
It's
I like
nice.
watching him work.
Not for me.
The pressure's all for Dave. Yeah.
We'll do a naming competition.
Oh, a name.
Oh yeah, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Stick it in the chat and we'll choose.
Give us name suggestions for this in the chat. Probably better than Dave's suggestion. With all due respect, Dave. And
Pointy looks
we'll try and see what we all prefer. Sharpie, really?
Sharpie but sharp face.
Goodness. Someone said, how long's the stream going for? So we actually have a kind of another stream on top of this. So
Why do you want us to go on? Are you bored with us now? Is that what it is?
No.
I could go on all night now.
How many layers does he use? Someone asked.
I mean,
I'm
layers
using
generally. Go on.
one.
Just one layer.
One.
Yeah, which is really annoying if you're trying to extract it and use it other pieces.
Right, I'm going to read some of these and trying to be careful with what I'm saying here. Blade of the Grove, that's not bad.
Yeah.
No, not Stabby McStabface, as someone
Oh,
said.
Quite like black
Dagger of Nature.
Balance is good.
Nature's Balance,
balance.
is good.
Ooh,
Nature's
that's
Balance
good.
is good. I like that.
Magic picker.
Guffix's Wrath. I mean, Guffix has never seen as raffle, right? I think that would be. I don't know. I don't really know my lore that well, so someone's gonna obviously correct me on that one. Nature's Balance is good, I think.
Yeah, I like nature's balance.
But hey, I'm not the one to decide this.
We got a whole range of these now.
Yeah.
We'll let them carry on, I think, as we just go from there. So,
Yeah, I'm just going to go back and read these this afternoon.
what's been? So I think I asked you this a long time ago when we did that stream. I think last August. It was a while ago.
It's been a long time.
But personal projects, a project you've worked on, you've enjoyed the most.
What, here?
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, come on. No, you're not giving me that answer. I'm not accepting that.
I'm going to go back a little bit
Yep.
in kind of time, if I may. What was it called? It was called Purple Rose internally.
That is,
thingy-
that's where Guffix dies. That's that quest.
Yeah. No, it's not.
I
It's
thought Purple Rose. Oh, that's Sleeping
Purple Rose
Dog.
is-
Purple Rose is Fate of God, isn't it?
Fate of the Gods.
Yeah, Fate of the Gods. There you
I
go.
love-
I knew it was one of them.
It was great.
Fate of the
Fate of the
Gods.
Gods was great. It was the first time we had some kind of new tech come online for a long time. long time for a long time. So we had we were off-world. We had a free range to go a bit crazy, and it may not look graphically the best compared to some of the newer stuff, but back then it was kind of cutting edge, kind of some really worked on the environments, which looked absolutely kind of brilliant, and it was an absolute joy to work with. Wow.
For me, I've not been here long, so
That's fine.
I think definitely the Equinox armor so far.
That is
That's
awesome.
pretty spicy.
I absolutely love that.
Really trying to push some of those sweet moving textures to their limits, and finding out how to make a square go round in a circle has been a highlight.
Yeah.
And a couple of projects I'm working on just now, which I can't talk about, but
I thought you were about to go whoosh with everything we're working on. I was like, oh my god.
That's the last start stream you did. Oh, yeah. I've been very good so far.
Always a panic moment though, so I can tell you that much. Oh man. So yeah, the name suggestions are still coming in. I'll let JD try and decide from there.
I've lost.
You've lost everything.
Yeah. Ilnor's Thorn.
Nature's Balance was the general favourite, I think.
I mean, yeah, we can watch it back and see the chat from there anyway, so that'll
The
be
whoosh sword.
the whoosh sword. Sorry, what?
Maybe Dave can name it.
I
You
wouldn't recommend
already
that.
did.
No, maybe Dave can't name it in that case.
So I have to ask, like, is this going to be more of a common thing, these kind of streams?
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the
100%.
plan, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, faces on here more often.
yeah,
Good. I approve of this. This is good.
like an invite to the players as well to give us suggestions of what you want to see on
Yeah.
Related. We've come on with, an idea for one stream.
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
don't know how to
We got a
continue.
few more. We'll talk about doing a sculpting one next month.
Yeah, we're hoping to bring all sorts of art stuff. So if there's anything you want to see us talk about specifically,
Yep.
let us know. If enough people want something very specific, whether it be
How to get in the industry.
getting a job in the industry,
to uni, your first day at Jagex, whatever.
yeah,
it's-
all
it's-
sorts. We're more than happy to tailor a stream for that and talk about it. It's
I mean, we're very lucky because inside the art team, we've got so many different disciplines. You've got UI artists, concept artists, illustrators, animators, character artists, environment artists, lighting artists, particle artists.
yeah.
We
There are
kind
many.
of had an insight into environments. Obviously, we just had a black screen. Okay, we're back. The panic, and I was like, "There's a black screen." So we had an insight into environment artists with Mod Chili. There we go. When we went through some of the stuff he was working on
Oh, yeah.
at the concept showcase, which looked great.
New
so,
tech. We love new tech.
yes, I could tell from the excitement right there. So I think it's really cool that we have, as you mentioned, those different kind of disciplines and people who do different kind of things in the art team. That we have that opportunity to kind of open up the discussion and kind of let people who are watching kind of see the insights of that. So I think that's really
Yeah.
cool.
The great thing being is also sometimes you find that, you might find a character artist might help out with some environment art as well.
Yeah.
So some of these kind of skills cross over. So I mean, art is great.
Yeah.
Basically.
There you go.
Yeah. Art is great.
Do art.
Do art.
Art's good.
Do you guys because obviously content team when they can take part in TAP, and we've released some really awesome stuff from it. Do you guys partake in TAP?
Yeah.
Love game jams and tap.
Yeah, so tap for an artist is often a bit different to tap for a dev.
Yeah.
So devs often work on stuff for the game,
Sure.
like projects and quests. We tend to use tap time to develop our own skills and kind of work on our own personal projects a bit in order to, because when we're working on something, I'll be working on an armor set for 2 weeks, and then straight away I need to work on another armor set. So it's a way for me to develop anatomy skills or stuff like that
Yeah.
to then put into making better work. So, where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. It's great. It's great for tap.
Yeah.
And like the game jams as well. I mean, last game jam thing we did with a couple of guys, we did like a narrative story kind of idea using Lego. We didn't have time to build, the models, so we used Lego, had some light rigs, had 3 cameras set up there. We had a whole bunch of people upstairs from the art team just building on the floor, building props for us out of Lego.
What?
And we spent the whole evening just filming all this stuff in Lego. So the game jam stuff's fantastic. You got crazy ideas. You just like, right, we're gonna make this. It's great for that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just before we wrap up for the first stream, is there anything you guys want to say in particular? Any thank yous or whatever before we end up?
Well, thanks to Dave for
Yeah.
thanks to Dave
putting
as
up
well.
with me constantly.
Should we have,
And yeah, and doing that, live. That's been a big ask. Actually, a lot of pressure.
can we
That's fantastic.
can we bring up Dave's screen full screen if that's okay? Just so we can have like a more zoomed in look of it.
Yeah, give me a sec.
And then yeah. All right. There you go. Nice.
Whoa.
Very nice.
So yeah,
Wow. Not
Whatever-
bad for an hour. My
Yeah,
goodness.
right. Well, less than an hour in the end.
gonna
wasn't it?
take
We
me a
did
couple of
sketches first,
days.
didn't we?
Wow. There you go.
so expect to see that in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
I mean, you can follow. I'm sure we all have Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Most of the artists on Twitter.
Yes. Well, plug it. Come on. Go
Yeah.
plug it.
Yeah,
to
no,
us.
absolutely. Yeah, so see you make it, and we'll put this up on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
And all the other 4 variants. It was 4, wasn't it?
For variants, yeah.
We still goes up to.
Are we still using the RuneScape artware? We have an artware, do we not?
Yeah. Well,
Not been used for a while.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we still have it. Okay, so if we start getting that going again,
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
to do.
But yeah, any questions about art, fire them across.
yep.
Uh,
you can tweet us and stuff.
Tweet us, and I'll be sharing probably some work in progress of this as well.
Nice.
Some sculpts, some.
And also, ideas for other art streams as well. We've got
Yeah.
a few ideas ourselves, but anything you want to see from us, let us know, and we'll put it together.
Yep.
Yeah, and just on that note, like, please let us know what you think of these kind of streams. Like, personally, obviously I got in a bit late, so apologies for that, but I absolutely loved what I saw. So I'm very much looking forward to what comes up from there. Final question, just before we wrap up. Do you guys use
ArtStation?
Just someone asked
Yes.
there.
Yes.
I just saw a question.
Yep.
For you. Answer
Yep.
really quickly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Check out the Jagex Art Station up there. There's some models up there and turnarounds and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, we're gonna end this stream.
Did a
Oh.
drop as well.
Yeah, so we're going to end the stream, but don't go anywhere because we'll be coming back live in a moment. We're ending the stream now so we can fire out
Stay live.
the clue scroll from this. So if you're eligible for Lootscape, you'll get the clue scroll. And then when we come back live, we'll be on a little holding screen and we'll start stream 2 and we'll fire another clue scroll. So apart from that, to you three, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been great.
Thanks
so,
for inviting us down there.
Yeah.
And I
you
didn't
guys have
swear,
smashed
which is
it.
fantastic. I know, right?
it's always a positive.
That was amazing. A whole hour without swearing.
So yeah, do share your love to these guys. It's been absolutely awesome. So yeah, we'll get ready to end this, then we'll wrap up and then get stream 2 on the go. So we'll see you in just a moment.
Bye.
Okay, so we're offline on that one. Yep.